Yo, what's up guys? Seiishizo over here, and let's talk about this Etheria restart post, which is going to come on the 9th 25, so that's about 4 weeks from now, plus the 7 days, so we're looking at like early October the moment you have that. But they're going to be giving a very special, well, gift in the first place. That's actually insane, and interesting to see it this early into the game, but then again, the game is not doing that well, to be honest, so definitely does make sense. So we're gonna have an Apex selection card where you may choose one of Messiah, Mio, Doki Doki, Heinrich, Lily, and Shadow, Sanya, or Lilium, which is very interesting. So for me personally, I only miss Doki, so that's definitely going to be the Doki pickup right there. But I think a lot of people are going to be very happy to pick up the Lily if they haven't had it yet. And yeah, that's definitely a really nice one right there. Also, the big question maybe is, should everyone go for Lily? I'm not sure. Fun fact is, there's one missing. Where's Yelly? Why is Yelly not in there? Is Yelly not in there because of the Yelly being in the banner in, like the very first banner they have in the China server and like the other Asia region servers is actually Yelly. So for that reason, it might be that Yelly is not in that banner or not in the selectable, because they still want to pull, like have those people pull it over there. But I think most people will pick up Lily. I would say a lot of content is very clearable without Lily. It's definitely still a lot of people are still calling it like Etheria restart or Lily restart and that kind of stuff. Does make sense. She definitely does make a fair bunch of stuff easier, but if you already invested into a bunch of stuff such as not this one, if you already invested a fair bit in Tsukiyomi, Tsukiyomi is a very good replacement for her. Like, I think that's the best one-to-one replacement. Also, Nifonel is kind of a replacement, which is just like a hyper enabler for your damage dealer, which in the end, Nifonel does that, Tsukiyomi does that, Lily does that, Doki does that kind of. Biotin, if we're talking PvP, it's just that she has shit AI for where she places her S2. But there's a decent amount of units that actually become a hyper enabler for your unit in the first place. So that's definitely something you have to keep in mind while picking her. And also, depending on what playstyle you want to fit with her. If you do want to go for her, keep in mind, you have to have 4 lattices for skill 1, and most likely another 4 lattices for skill 2. Skill 2 is not as much a must, but it's highly recommended. Skill 1 is a must. So if you want to go for her, you still have like about a month to save your lattices. Definitely save those 8 lattices over here. Plus, by the time we will have that event going on, we will also most likely already have our new banner. So the new banner, how long are we sitting on the current banner? Also, there was a leak thing for the banner. Man, I'm clicking legit all over the spot. So 7 days. So let me actually find that one thing where it was leaked. Yeah, it was this one over here, which is a hollow type of unit with looking some kind of blades. I kind of get the Yang vibes from Wuthering Waves, to be honest, on this one. So that one apparently was in there. Interesting to see. I'm not sure if that's going to be the next thing to be added into the game, because I would assume the next thing to be added into the game would be, once again, a LD unit. So since we had a dark unit recently, I would expect a light unit. So I haven't seen anything hinting towards what would that light unit be. So I think that will be added over there, but definitely do keep in mind that if you want to go for Lily, Lily does need about 8 lattices. So if you do want to use that, keep that in mind. If you want to go for Heinrich, I highly recommend Heinrich at least to get towards this one. So you have to get 3 lattices in, because the block for 2 turns is way better. If you use it for Terramaton, block for 3 turns is definitely what you need. Everything else is not that much of a must. If you want to go hard on him, it is pretty nice to have the higher chance of landing the block over here, or the high chance of dispelling this one, the 2. So those 2 are definitely high recommended on him, where if you were to go for him. Personally, I have him 515. What are the other ones? Doki Doki. She has a pretty interesting one of how to skill it up. I think you have to go for the 2 over here for sure. I think that the 3 you definitely want to be maxing out. The 2 you probably want to be maxing out. To be honest, I think like a Doki is one of those that you could go for like full on 12. So if you want to go for a Doki, might be for me that I'm gonna spend all 12 on her straight up. I'm not 100% sure yet. You can also do it a little bit slower, where you definitely want to get the turn meter. So the 2 over here is very important. Then I think it was one of those where, yeah, the level 3 over here is very important. And then it's, where is your speed? Is that in the skill ups? Is on the Wen. So, yep, she's definitely one of those that probably needs a lot. So, good thing that I've been saving a fair bit of lattices because therefore she will probably get all of those. If we're looking at Miho, most likely for PvP, you do want to go for skill 1 max because of the speed, at least to 4, because that's where the speed is at. And you definitely want to get the higher rates on the freeze and on the steel turn meters, and probably on the cooldowns as well. So she's kind of a 4-5-5 kind of unit if you do go for her, which is recommended. Messiah, if you go for him, I don't think that many people will go for Messiah. Most likely you already have a Yelly or something else, but if you don't, Messiah is definitely a unit which wants to go on a 4 on the skill 3, and then probably you want to go for a 3 more in the skill 1, because that's where you get extra attack in there, which is highly recommended. You can, if you want to go hard on the damage, also go for these, but they're not as important. It's definitely important that you get this ignored defense extra added in there. Very important for that one in there. Lilium, also I would say skill 3 is definitely a max angle right there, because that's where you get a lot of your damage. Skill 2, probably a max as well. Skill 1 is max needed for PvP, so this is a 5-5-5 kind of unit as well if you missed out on it recently and you happen to not be able to pull it like after she was buffed. I would definitely say the 1 and the 3 is what you want to max. The skill 2 is recommended as well if you want to go hard on her. Then Shadow Sanya, I think Shadow Sanya is kind of not needed anymore. I would not really recommend to go for Shadow Sanya unless it's the only unit that you're missing in the game. And that's just mainly because everything is kind of cleared without dots nowadays. If you're still in the very early game, Termaton with dots is pretty nice, but you're probably pretty fast gonna go into the point where you can just clear it without. So those are my recommendations for the skill up. So you still have about a month left. So in that case, if you already had some units in plans for your lattices, I was thinking about, for me, either Biotin or Veronica, because of like the cleave style that I do like with them. Those two probably get put a little bit on hold, and those stuff will actually go to Doki Doki first, or maybe the Biotin still. I kind of want to use that for RTA as well. By the time that we have this, the RTA season is already ended. We will have like a good 4 weeks more, so probably I have another 10 lattices. Probably I'll use them on Biotin, and then I'll start like saving for Doki later. So that is probably my game plan over there. Let me know in the comments who you're gonna go for. I think a lot of people are gonna go for the Lily, if you're still playing the game at least, because I do think a lot of people did quit over the time already as well, which is definitely a fair possibility too. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this event. I think it's a pretty nice event. I think the timing is maybe a little bit late, but then again, rather late than never. I'm still enjoying this game. I'm just not making that much content out of it because there's just not that much content to be made if I'm not playing that much RTA as of yet. People have been saying like, oh, you got so much stuff, but you're not playing RTA. I just feel too lazy to regear. That's the main issue. I probably want to play some old kind of cleave style, but I have to regear everything, and I'm too lazy to do that. That's kind of a me issue right there. But yep, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Seiishizo out, and see you as always in the next one.